Just how bad could a free Range Rover be? Well, in today's episode, we're going to find out. I'm taking this over to a local Land Rover specialist to do a post-purchase inspection and figure out everything that's wrong with it. Then I'm going to go over that list with you and figure out what I'm going to have them do, what I can do myself, and what I'm just going to learn to live with and not even bother. The car originally sold on Cars and Bids for $7,150. I paid $1,300 to ship it here, but $0 on the purchase price itself. So we'll figure out if the previous owner was just overly generous, whether this car was effectively mechanically totaled, and how much up to $7,150 I want to spend getting this thing up to my standard. So without further ado, let's take this on over to the shop and figure out what all is wrong with it and get a list of repairs. And let's see how bad the damage is. We are somewhere that knows these cars apparently, so I parked next to what is maybe a parts car, but could come in handy. They do have the upgraded headlights, so I want those. Gimme. And the roof rack. We got the full estimate here. There is 7 pages of things wrong. So I'm going to go over everything. If I were to approve all charges, we are at $7,500 in repairs. I approved $4,823, which adding to the $1,300 in shipping would put me at a little over $6,000, and then another $500 in parts. So let's call it $7,000 all in. So I'm keeping under the below the purchase price, but that is a lot of money to spend on a free car, and one that maybe is worth $7,000 if I sell it. But here's what we did. The post-purchase inspection, $391. I know that's kind of crazy. It's about 2 hours of labor, but I wanted to know everything that was wrong with it, and this gives me a cheat sheet of what I can fix on my own and save me a ton of money. So totally worth that. Next, an oil change, $376. I could have done that myself for maybe half that, but while you're in there, it was worth it. The big one here is the valve cover gasket. Sometimes you can get away with just tightening it, but this one was totally cracked and ruined. Oil was leaking all over the floor, but it was also causing those misfires in the check engine light I had earlier. So that one was a biggie. It was $1,067, but that includes the labor as well as parts. The parts weren't that significant, maybe $140. So almost $1,000 in labor there. The other biggie is the ball joints. The suspension needed to completely rebuilt. It was borderline dangerous. He said, if you're going to do one thing at all, that's it. It is not something you can DIY. You need special tools to press everything together. In fact, the labor was almost $2,000, so a ton of labor there. The parts themselves were fairly negligible. I think it was like another $400 and some dollars. So $2,281 to redo the front suspension basically and replace the ball joints. It does drive a ton better having done that. So the valve cover gasket and the ball joints were really the 2 biggies. Once you do the suspension rebuild, you got to do an alignment. That was another $315. And then I had them bleed the brake fluid because I didn't know when it was last done. And I hate bleeding brakes. It's annoying, especially one person. You got to dispose of it, yada, yada, yada. So that was another $240. Otherwise, just some miscellaneous shop fees, recycling, taxes, etc. gets you to that final bill. The items I declined because I'm either going to DIY or otherwise live with. The air conditioning does not work. The previous owner had that inspection. It's a blend motors, very common on P38s. You can buy new ones for $300. They are a pain to get to, but it was going to be $126 just for them to diagnose it. And so I already have the diagnosis, no sense paying for that. Next, what else did we look at, Sonny? The cooling system to do a pressure test because there was some leakage of coolant. For now, we'll just see if it leaks again after it's being topped up. The front and rear diff, they wanted to replace a fluid. I found service records saying it was done recently. I don't think it needs done again, so we're good. The rear brake pads was going to be $1,000. I found the kit for $100 on Atlantic British. I'm going to do it myself. It's not that hard. Spark plugs, they said if you hadn't done it in a while, you probably should. For another $700, I have an extra set that came with the car. Also, I saw in the service records it was done less than 10,000 miles ago, so not really necessary. So again, $4,800, $500 in extra parts to get the fog lights that you'll see later in this episode that I installed and a few other odds and ends. So that takes care of mostly everything, except for there's still plenty of cosmetics if I want to get crazy. On top of that massive bill, the other things that I need to fix or figure out, the upholstery could be redone. I'd love to do that in plaid, but that is certainly not a very good decision financially. This has been, well, that's an interesting installation method that doesn't look great. Again, upholstery lifting everywhere. I gotta find a new glove box solution here. Again, upholstery has seen better days, although the roof liner is pretty decent. There's a lot of like random holes in here drilled. None of the buttons work on the steering wheel. It's not the steering wheel that came with the car. That ain't great. These wheels are toast, and another thing that I shouldn't do because it'll blow my budget, but at the very least we can do something about these center caps. They're real cheap. So here's the before, and there's the after. So still not great, but not bad. And I do love the meaty tires. I can go up at least one more side. And there's a ding on the hood there. Not a big deal. And a little clear coat fade up top right there, but again, nothing to really be worried about or fix anytime soon. First drive, 5 grand pour, and it does drive a lot better. That initial impression I've got that it rode like crap wasn't just in my head. Like, this is butter smooth in comparison. So that 220, 300 or so I spent on the suspension rebuild, well worth it. The alignment probably didn't hurt either. Tires look good. Everything else is pretty good. We'll see if it still leaks oil. I don't have a check engine light back on yet. And my suspicion as to what happened here is they replaced the spark plugs and coil spark plug wires multiple times. It didn't fix the issue. There was still a misfire, but I think the valve gasket was leaking so bad that it was losing oil pressure and causing a misfire. And that leak was probably around cylinder 1, 2, and that's why it was isolated to there. So my hope is that the valve cover gasket is going to replace or fix that check engine light, some of the other issues, but the only way we can find out is to drive it. We're at a pick and pull and got the front brush guard for $100 and looking at a couple other pieces while we're here. Poor truck has seen better days. Here she is. It's a pain to install because you got to take the bumper off and slide it in there, but they gave me all the brackets too. I don't want to jinx it, but that went really well. I got the brush guard and then a new trim piece since mine has a hole in it, and we'll convert it to an easier single din experience so that I can put in my CarPlay. So we'll have CarPlay, I'll have no holes in it. That should fix some issues. The bull guard will look great. I already got fogs for it. You got to take the whole bumper off. So they told me they were going to install it for me for $30. Apparently the guy realized it's a lot more work than he thought and didn't want to do it anymore. So that's fine. Also, I realized I have expired tags on this car, walking distance to Mexico, no passport on me. Probably not a good idea, but we're heading back north towards downtown San Diego, so that'll be good. And most importantly, 70 miles on the car, no check engine light, no warning lights, no ABS light. What a score, considering I spent more than that for my yellow one from Bring a Trailer when I bought it, and it had every light and every problem imaginable. A mere $4,800 later to have a car that's running and driving great is pretty fantastic. I am so pleased. And now that we got our $100 brush guard from Mexico, we're going to try to put it on. Bumper's got to come off. I've done this before, so hopefully it's not quite as bad. I've already checked and it's not rusted. What really held me up last time is that the whole thing was rusted into place and I couldn't get it off, but this thing is like hand loose. So fingers crossed the bumper comes off easy, the brush guard goes on, and we're looking the business. Well, that was like 10 minutes compared to like 2 years before, so I don't even know if this needs to come off all the way, but we might as well here. And this is on. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. And it straps into there, that goes underneath. I don't have these little thingies, but I think it should be fine. I have it pretty torqued down, so we're gonna put it back on, but this could be under an hour DIY, which gives me time to light up the, or wire up the lights too. Now she's all buttoned up. We're gonna give her a wash, but first I'm at least gonna test the fog lights and see how much trickiness there is with the wiring and the mounting. There needs to be somewhere to go, but this is solid. It ain't moving. Success. Wiring this up wasn't too bad. You got a positive and a negative. The wiring harness thing goes down here into each light, which has quick disconnects. I ended up mounting this, just drilling it directly into the bumper. I need to shave these off still, but you can see there. Also did the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer mod. The wiring goes around here. Here's the relay. And then actually the previous owner had already put something through the firewall, so that made it really easy. And then super clean inside. You don't see anything down here. And I should probably tuck that in better, but there's my switch just to turn it on and off. And these aren't poser lights. Turn the switch and they turn on, off. So pretty cool. I got to tighten up the wiring a little bit, but it's fairly stealth underneath. And from the front here, they're independently controlled, so that's pretty dope. Did I overspend on my free Range Rover, the Project P38 Part 2? I don't think so. I'm in at under 7 grand. I am absolutely so thrilled. 7 grand was even half of what I spent on the Arnage. We've gone 250 miles, no aero lights, no problems, no hiccups, no stalling, no tow trucks. I'm feeling pretty decent. I feel like I could get 5 to 10 grand out of it if I needed to, but I have no plans to sell it. I think it looks the business with the Helifog lamps, the brush guard. We'll do a paint correction, a few other cosmetic things just to get it looking good, but oh man, it's so cool. I also discovered a free mod. It already has a 1-inch lift on it, so I don't think I need to do any more. When the tires run out, maybe we go up a size, but I'm gonna go enjoy the sunset and take my dogs for a walk. Appreciate your comments and love. Peace.